J-O-E in the place to be. HB on the track, it's like ecstasy. Rolling a well of 7 years, what we drink and be. Trying to sling the dopest rhymes in the galaxy. Let me take a minute though and relax your mind. Sometimes these words can be hard to find. 24/7 on that daily grind. Hearing voices in my head, man, they not that kind. Cause bitches be bitching, snitches keep snitching. The world keeps turning, and I keep hitching a ride instead of living my life. Yo, 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 yo.
Man, when you feel hungry, don't you have to eat?
Yo, yo, pump up the volume and digest this beat.
RapScallions in the house with this lyrical treat.
When we're done with you, you're gonna ice your feet.
If the world ends tomorrow and you had one chance,
Hey, yo, would you start the move like it's your last dance?
yo, do something small in the past and present changes.
Do something now, the future rearranges.
Cause bitches keep bitching.
Yo, snitches keep snitching.
The world keeps turning.
And you start living your life instead of hitching a ride. RapScallions.
Welcome, everybody. This is Season 2, Episode 8, Improv Your Life. I see what you did there, Joe. Very comedic. My name is HB2E. Next to me is Joe Mosquito. We are the RapScallions, and today's show is going to be all about improv, where it came from, where we started, and we're going to explain to you how it can help your life. But first, Joe, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, man, I'm doing all right. Good to be here. Happy to be here. It's a beautiful day today. It seems like summertime over here in the city, man. It also seems like summertime over where you are. What's going on? Has the climate changed over there? Are you in summer already? Did you jump ahead to January?
Hey, it's been all that tumultuous storm activity in the Caribbean has created such a weird thing here in Panama. We had a whole week of overcast and rain and drizzles, and then yesterday, the sun will come out tomorrow. And you know what we did? Vamos pa la playa.
Yeah.
So I had to wear a red shirt to kind of disimular so you guys couldn't see how roasted my face is.
Man, you didn't put on sunblock, sunscreen?
Oh, I put tons on, but usually I don't spend 16 hours at the beach.
Oh, man. Did you wear a big hat?
I wore a big hat. I even wore a inflatable pink flamingo floaty.
Man, yo, I heard pink flamingo floaties. Those things will help you tan faster than other types of floaties. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, I had like glitter in it, so the glitter is probably what screwed everything up.
Man, that's crazy. But I saw your pictures, man. It looked like you guys had a fabulous time. It looked like it was a beautiful day at the beach, man.
It was a beautiful day, and it was a much needed respite, vacation. And we
Is that how you
enjoyed.
say it? Respite or respite? Respite.
I don't know.
I don't
man.
know.
I'm just a humble comedian here at your service.
Oh, man. That's cool, man. The beach is always a wonderful place to be at, man. Yeah. So you can kick it, relax, and just enjoy yourself, man.
Before we get started, Joe, before we go full speed ahead on improving people's lives, it's time for the weekly Rapping with RapScallions weekly wrap-up. Jose Mosquito, Lord, Joe, Gabriel, Chantwell, tell us, how was your week? And we haven't been for 2 weeks.
We haven't been here for 2 weeks, man.
Got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about, man. I had a very eventful week. As you know, I went on a trip, man, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my trip. Normally, I don't like to talk too much about myself, about what I do or what I see. I've had bad experiences in the past.
Very humble, man.
When people ask me if I went somewhere, and I'll tell them like, yeah, I went to this place. And they'll say, well, did you go to this place while you were there? And I'll be like, no. And they'll just stop caring and they won't listen to my story. So sometimes I'm just like, man, maybe I should just talk as fast as I can to get all my information out in a single block. And then I said it and I don't have to talk anymore. And that way I avoid the glazed over look on people's faces when you can tell they're not listening to you anymore. You know what I'm saying? But anyways.
Hey, but the positive thing, Joe, is that right now, this is what's called a captive audience.
We do have a captive audience. So people have to listen. So now they're going to suffer through my week, man. Anyways, I'm going to keep it easy breezy. So as some people may know, I was in Chicago this past week. It was a very interesting experience. First of all, traveling. It's the first time I've ever traveled since the pandemic kicked off. So the last time I went on a trip was probably February 2020. So since then, I have not left the country. It was a bit nerve-wracking at first, to be honest, because there's a lot of different protocols and stuff that you got to follow, to get to the airport and all that jazz. But we got our swabs, we got our boop, boop, hisopados and stuff. got
What
negative
was that?
test.
I never had
So
one of
it's
those.
good. I didn't really, I mean, to be honest, it didn't really bother me too much. Maybe because I like sticking stuff up my nose, so I've been used to have.
Okay.
But for her, it had a lasting impact on her day. For me, it was pretty much, So I mean, hey, Laboratorios Fernandez, they did it really quick in 2 hours time. Boom, they had our results. It was negative, so we were set to travel. So we got to the airport on a Saturday. We had to wear a mask, of course, throughout the time that we were at the airport. Then on the plane, you have to wear your mask as well throughout the whole journey. And it's like a 5-hour flight wearing a mask. That's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah, man. I guess the only good thing I can say about that is if you fall asleep, and you know how usually when you fall asleep on a plane, you're always like, nobody can see your like mouth open.
No one can throw sock fuzz into your mouth.
Exactly. So that's a positive of having to travel with a mask.
Yeah, the silver lining, man. That's what I love about Joe. Always looking at the silver lining. Beautiful.
Oh,
It's
man.
beautiful.
So I could appreciate that. They give you meals. I thought they weren't going to give us meals because we were like an hour into the flight and I got hungry. I was like, where's my food? Damn it. I came on a plane. I expect to be fed. So they feed you, and you can take your mask off while you're eating, but you got to put it back on. So we landed in Chicago. It was about midnight or something. And then it was so fast. We sped through everything, man. We sped through immigration. We sped through customs. And then we were out. Boom. Got an Uber. Went to the Airbnb that we got, which was fabulous. Like, we were lucky, so blessed to have a beautiful Airbnb with a fantastic view of the city. So, unpacking and stuff, all that crap, whatever. We were asleep at like 3 a.m. Sunday, woke up like at noon, which is super late. Super late to wake up on a Sunday, man. Super late. So we went out just to explore, walk a bit. It was a nice, brisk autumn day. People had told us that we needed to try the deep dish pizza in Chicago. That's like a delicacy over there. So headed over to try that out to a restaurant called Giordano's, which is like a chain restaurant. I didn't know any better. Anyways, we went there and they told us that the deep dish pizza was going to take about 50 minutes and we were starving. So we ordered a regular thin crust pizza, which was good. It's fine. Walked around some more. Monday came around, went out to explore. It was like the hottest day of my life, man. I was sweating buckets. And I wore a gray shirt.
Joe sweats in Antarctica. I'll tell you guys.
Yes. And I was like, man, it's Chicago. It's supposed to be cold. But it wasn't cold. It was hot, man. Hot. So it was a bit embarrassing at moments because I was like a patch of dark gray here, patch of dark gray here, patch of dark gray here, light gray, because the shirt was just changing colors throughout the day. But anyways, it was nice to walk around and explore. We went down to Millennium Park. We went to the Cloud Gate, which some people call the Bean. So it was cool to see that thing that you sometimes see in movies and stuff, right?
You flick the bean?
I tapped it with the outside of my fist because COVID.
True.
It's COVID. But there were still loads of people. Everybody, it was really interesting to see, though, in Chicago, in the U.S., because I guess different states have different mandates, right? Or different laws or whatever. So in Chicago, you have to wear your mask whenever you go inside a building, regardless of whether or not you're vaccinated. So when you're outside, you can be maskless, but when you're inside, you got to wear your mask. And people, for the most part, were following the rules.
Very good. Very good.
That was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty decent. We went to the river. You know the river, the Chicago River. And then
I don't know it. It doesn't invite me to its wedding, but
you did you see Transformers? There was a massive fight there, and I was like, dude, that's where the Transformers had a fight. So I was really psyched that I could see the location where the Transformers had a fight. So that was pretty cool. Second day, Tuesday, man. Kelly had to go visit her offices, so I got a chance to do what I like to do best whenever I'm in big cities, just kind of walk around, sit in cafes, pretend that I'm some sort of struggling artist. They're just like, trying to write and do something creative. So that was cool.
That's good.
It was raining, so it was much more of a climate that I was expecting. It was raining, it was cold. So that was good. Then we rode a train in the afternoon because we went to visit one of Kelly's colleagues. Wednesday came around, some more walking around in the day. In the evening, we went to see the Second City Improv show, which was top notch. It was called Happy to Be Here. We'll talk about that later on as we get into the nitty gritty improvisational stuff of the show. Thursday, some more walking around, man. We walked a lot. like on my Fitbit, I surpassed 10,000 steps every single day. Every single day. So I'm pretty happy. We walked a lot. Friday rolled around. It was a good day. We were having good times. And then, finally, oh yeah, we did go back for deep dish pizza at a place called Pequod's. Thank you, Carina. On a Thursday, much more local place, much more, of the people. So we went to this Pequod's place, had the deep dish. It only took them 35 minutes to make it. Man, that thing was delicious.
Was it like, oh, mamma mia? It was so good.
I loved it. And we had one small one for the two of us. And I ate 2 slices. I was full. Kelly ate 1 slice. She was full. So I got to eat the last remaining slice Friday.
So like a deep dish is kind of like a pizza version of lasagna.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But it's like thick, man. It's like they serve it in like a cake tray, Right. And so then they have a scoop, and it's amazing, delicious.
Oh, million dollar question, Joe. You got your fellow rapscallion HB with you.
Uh-huh.
Are you taking me to Napoli? Or are you taking me to Chicago to get some deep dish?
Man, well, you've experienced Napoli, so I got to take you to Chicago to have the deep dish.
So just for the novelty of it.
Yeah.
I got to try it.
Because if you're in Chicago and you got to do the deep dish, you got to do the deep
I hear
dish.
you. I hear you.
And at Pequod's, it was, and this was like one of these like kind of old looking places that you could tell have been there for like thousands of years and stuff or whatever. Amazing, man. Amazing. Loved it.
Pequod, I think, was the name of the boat in Moby Dick, I believe.
That explains why their logo was a whale with a panty on its head.
Oh.
I kid you not.
A comedy coming out of Chicago, looks like.
So that was really good, man. Yeah, we also took a ferry. We took a boat on Lake Michigan. Dude, Lake Michigan is huge. It's huge. It was like the ocean. I didn't know Lake Michigan was that big, dog.
Yeah, it's ginormous.
Jeez, they even have a proper beach. Like, we went to a beach that was there, not to get into the water, but it looked like the ocean because you can't see the end of it because it's that big. And you're like, man, is this the ocean? It was really cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
Very
cool. We did that. Friday then just kind of went out and about, walking around. We visited different neighborhoods, kind of try and see the different sides of Chicago, the different flavors of it, just kind of get to know it, get to enjoy it. Man, Friday night, dude, this is the first time that I've been able to live like a regular person with one phone, right? With one phone. And I'm thinking people are not going to be bothering me because of work-related stuff because I haven't been able to disconnect from work for forever. And Friday night, man, people started bombarding me with some stuff about work on my personal phone. And I was like,
boo loco.
Boo loco indeed. I can't live my life this way, man.
No.
My final night. So I managed to like sort whatever it is that I needed to sort. And then I just kind of cooled out. We had a nice balcony in the apartment. So we sat there, looked at the buildings and stuff. Like, oh man, it's great. And then Saturday morning, we had to wake up at the crack of dawn to catch our flight to come back here. And we landed at about 2:30, man. But it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. Good to disconnect a bit. Sometimes it's good to just kind of leave everything and just like, I want to go
get a fresh perspective, disconnect.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Let loose a little bit.
Yeah.
Some panties on your head at Pequod's.
Yeah, man. Too many panties. Too many. But it was good. I enjoyed it. So I'm glad we did it. Yeah, man. It was a beautiful experience. Glad to be back. Totally recommend Chicago to anybody who's never been. Thank you, my friend. I'd never been to Chicago, so it's good.
2 weeks is too long, man.
I know. Hey, but we got mad kudos for the video that we put saying that we would be back.
Right. That led to us doing this. Quick shout out. Nick Miles is tuned in from jolly old England. He says, "Sup, scallywags." We're going to be talking more about the Miles family a little later in the show. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Since we last spoke, fam scallions, of course, you guys have been noticing my beautiful mustache.
It is fantastic.
And if you follow our social medias, you'll know that I completed filming my part in French. I had a good time filming. I have to keep this look till the end of the month, just in case we have some refilmings or we had to follow up on some movie dates. So
you have 4 days left.
4 days left, and then I can do what I want. Let us know in the comments. Should I keep the stash? Should I modify my look? Fam Scallions, let me know what you want.
Man, I saw some hipster dudes that were trying to pull that off like you. But I was like, those guys don't got it.
No,
They don't got
they
it.
don't got it.
They don't got it.
So that was pretty much my week before last, and then this week, after completing the movie, we came out to the interior. This is set up outside here. It's been very nice. Today it's hot. The sun is out, but all week, you know what I've been doing, Joe?
What have you been doing, man?
I've been flexing my muscle. I've been doing
Oh,
yoga.
you've been flexing in the. Have you oiled yourself up?
I didn't oil myself up, but I did oil up my chainsaw, and I was cutting down trees. Sometimes trees grow that can endanger your fence or your roof. So boop,
You don't want that to happen, dog.
bye tree.
Yeah,
And
man.
you want to help certain plants grow and other plants you don't want so much. So I did a lot of lumberjacking.
Nice, man. Were you wearing your flannels?
I didn't. It was a little too hot for flannels,
Oh
but
man,
I was lumberjacking in spirit. I was jacking it.
dude, nobody jacks it like HB, man.
That's
Nobody jacks it like HB. That's good, man. You know what? They got to make some sort of flannel looking clothes that's like dry fit. Maybe we should talk to Nike about it so they can make some like dry fit flannel,
Columbia
and then
flannel wear.
Columbia flannel wear or something. So that way, tropical lumberjacks can rock that and be like, yeah,
I think we just found our niche.
seriously, man. Seriously, tropical lumberjacks.
Without any further ado, Joe, do you have any more updates? What are you drinking? What are you drinking today?
I'm drinking. So we got back yesterday, so I wasn't able to do some supermarket or anything. But thankfully, I still had a nice, nifty bottle of Kirkland's finest whiskey. So I'm
Kirkland's.
drinking some of that,
Always there for you in a pinch.
definitely, with some apple juice.
The finest cheap scotch you can buy with a cork in it.
That's right, man. Hey, look at this, man. Look at this.
Listen to that sound.
Look at
Beautiful sound. What a beautiful sound.
that. That's amazing.
That just sounds like quality.
That's
I
right.
improvised, Joe. I think next time you come up to Santa Clara, we're gonna make this. It's kind of like a romponche.
Uh-huh.
Got some agua de pipa, coconut water,
Ooh.
fresh squeezed orange juice, and I made a pineapple cinnamon tea.
Wow.
And so this is mostly seco with some of that concoction. Very.
What does it
tasty.
taste like?
Oh, tastes like heaven.
Tastes like heaven. That sounds amazing. Cheers, my friend. Cheers to
Cheers.
you and to your drink.
Here's to you. Welcome back to the motherland.
Thanks, dog.
So today's topic, Joe, our FamScallions. Today's topic, FamScallions, is something very near and dear to the RapScallions' hearts. As longtime FamScallions will know, we met at the Theater Guild and spent a lot of time doing improv, and it was in the back, in the wings, behind the curtain, waiting for an improv show to start, that I asked Joe, hey, what do you like to do in your free time? And he says, I like to write rap songs. And I was like, dude, let's record them. And there was born the RapScallions. So we owe a lot to improv.
Indeed, man. I think improv has definitely helped us all to become the scallions that we are today.
Yes. We
The
got some more
RapScallions.
shout outs. The other half of the Miles, Danielle Miles, is tuned in. She sends a smiley face with hearts. We're definitely going to be talking about Danielle and Nick Miles in our experiences with improv. Also, Laura Liu is tuned in. I think she's in Michigan. And she says seco. She probably hasn't had seco in a long time. Good to see you tuned in, Laura. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, make sure you ask us, because we're going to tell you all about our experiences improv, the history of improv, and how improv can help you in your personal and business life. Joe,
Oh, true.
tee up that ball, man.
Hey, so check it out. I think first and foremost, in order to start talking about improv, we got to define improv, right? We got to define it. We got to give it a definition just so people know
Yes,
what
sir.
it's all about. So, contextually speaking, we did a lot of research because we have a lot of personal knowledge, but then we also needed to take it to the internets to be able to make sure that we had the correct information to give you guys. So, if your first question listening out there is, what is improv? Then let us tell you, okay? So improv, short for improvisation, is a form of live theater in which the plot, characters, and dialogue of a game, scene, or story are made up in the moment. Often, improvisers will take a suggestion from the audience or draw on some other source of inspiration to get started. Improv is unique in that you see a performance and that's it. there will never, ever be another show like it because it's happening in the moment. You're watching ideas be born in the person or team's mind right then and there.
Yeah.
Right then and there.
Definitely an excellent definition. And, even if you tune in and you watch a pre-recorded improv, maybe it doesn't have the same impact. And a lot of people might wonder in their head, there's probably three main pillars of comedy. You have your scripted comedy, which is like a funny movie. You got your stand-up comedy, which is someone develops an act and does it in front of a live audience. And then you have your improv comedy, where everything happens right in front of you. And I think that is the spark that people love. They love the spark of creation happening right in front of their eyes.
That's right. And I think just in case people need a reference, maybe, I'm sure many of you may have seen that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? It was very popular in the 90s. I think it's still going on right now. I don't know. Drew Carey used to host it. Warren Brady was on. Warren Brady, was it? Yeah. Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady. Quarterback. Wayne Brady. Great guy with the tunes and the songs and stuff. So that show was a show based purely on improv. These guys went on there to play improv games. And when you think about it now, HB, you're like, man, how fun would it be if your job was just like, hey, HB, every week on Friday, we're going to film you playing improv games. And you're great.
That would be amazing. That would be super amazing to do that.
Amazing, right? Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, they did it. And I think Wayne Brady, thanks to his performances on there, he got some fame, man.
He did. One tends to think of his performance in the Chappelle Show.
That's right, man. So he got really well known, man. I even seen him be on. So this guy, what's his name? Sway. He used to be on MTV, man. So he has like the 5 Fingers of Death, where dudes go on there, rappers, guys and girls, they go on there to rap. And he has the 5 Fingers of Death, right? Is when they throw out 5 different beats. And then these people have to come up with new rhymes for each different beat. And for the most part, he'll give them a topic. And Wayne Brady has been on there several times, and he has killed the 5 Fingers of Death.
Wayne Brady's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Cool, because it's not anyone who would go and do that. We could do it.
Yeah,
we could
for sure. We've done that. We've been out in bars, and people are like, improv for us. So people are in the band. We're like, give us a little jazz beat, and then we ask the audience, you give me a topic. You give me a topic. I think our most famed thing was Sassafras Turtle. We had to sing about Sassafras Turtle.
That's right.
And even though it was ridiculous, the people loved it. They were amazed that we could come up with that stuff. And then lo and behold, someone in the crowd said, hey, you know what? I want to try rapping in Spanish. And we pulled him up on stage, and we did it with that. That was such a fun night.
That was tight, man. And it happened spur of the moment, man. Spur of the moment. We do that every now and then. So keep an eye out for the RapScallions showing up at a location near you. Yeah. Just doing some cool improvised stuff, man. HB, just to continue on with the definition of what is improv, man, just to let the people know. So improvised shows can differ between different improv troupes depending on their training, their goals, and their style. Sometimes improv is purely comedy-based, while other times it can be a mix of both comedy and drama, or just drama. Like scripted theater, without a script, with the actors acting and directing themselves, writing the plot, and interacting with each other all at the same time without previous planning. Improv is spontaneous, entertaining, and fun. But like all great things, you have to see it firsthand to fully experience it. HB, what is your experience? Have you seen other improv shows? You've been in like the greatest improv shows of all time, but have you seen any improv shows?
Been in the finest. Yeah, I've seen. There's a few acts in Panama that have their own brand of improv. Also, some of the famous shows that you might watch on television, such as Schitt's Creek, and what's the Larry David show?
Is Schitt's Creek improvised?
It's not 100% improvised, but a lot of times you'll have a scripted bullet point, and then the actors are allowed to work around that.
Ah, very cool, man.
So what's Larry David has a show. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Larry David from Seinfeld fame.
Yeah. He has
what is the show? I don't remember what the show is.
The Larry David show. I don't know.
The Larry David show.
So anyway, he goes on there and he'll give an idea of what he wants, and then people just start going at it. and
All
then
right.
somehow they make a show out of it, and
That's
it's
cool.
very well known.
Yeah. No, I think similar to you, I've seen a lot of great improv shows here in Panama. I think Elefante de Venus is a very popular one. They do a lot of improv around Panama. Pretty
I've
good.
worked with them.
You've worked with them, yeah?
We did it was called a historical encounter where we dressed up like historical figures in and around Casco Viejo,
Mm.
and when tour groups came by, we had our scripted things that we had to hit, but we also had to interact with the tourists, and that's where the improvisation came in. You know, we had our main historical facts, and people would ask us, and it was a lot of fun, especially when you turn the crowd. You always see when they're kind of like, "What the heck is this?" And then when you grab them,
Yeah.
and pull them in, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, yeah. And they don't expect that, man. HB, we got a shout out for you over here on the Instagrams from Panama_mission_relief. Hey there, HB.
That's he was in attendance. That's my buddy Kim. He was there in attendance. He's actually the one that videotaped us singing Sassafras Turtle.
That's Kim.
and sent
Hey,
it to us.
Kim.
Yeah.
True that, man. True that. That's awesome. Yeah, you true that. That was an epic evening, man. But yeah, I think similar to you, I think one of the things I've seen the most that is that has really inspired me or shocked me, impacted me, seeing an improv show. I was able to go see the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is like a massive festival of theater and arts and performing in Edinburgh in Scotland. And I went to see this play, like a proper play that was completely improvised. Like these people went on stage. They took, I think, 5 suggestions from the audience at the very beginning, and then they put on an entire play that lasted about an hour and a half, which was totally improvised. Totally improvised. And I was blown away because one of the things we're going to talk about later is just how they rolled with each other, right? They rolled with each other. It was one of these things where it was like, this idea, boom, this is happening. All right, I'm taking that, and now this is happening. It was fantastic. And then sometimes people think, and just one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have, they're just like, people that do improv are stand-up comedians. No.
Right.
These guys were not stand-up comedians. These guys were just rolling with the ideas that they had.
Right.
Incredible.
It is. Yeah. And I've when I guest hosted Andres's radio show, I had several people who dip into the 3 different areas of comedy, whether it be scripted comedy, stand-up comedy, or improv comedy. It's very interesting to try and delineate what's different between the 3. But today we're going to focus on improv.
Today we're focusing on improv, HB. And on that, how about we switch over to so I scoured the internet, man, for the rules of improv. Different people have different things, what they consider to be the rules of improv. Man, we're just going to go with the ones that we thought made sense and kind of elaborate on each of these points as we discuss it. Because I didn't invent improv. HB didn't invent improv. You know who did invent improv? And we should probably mention this before we continue, my friend. The person who is credited with creating improv is, well, not creating it, but I guess just kind of
popularizing it,
or she's referred to as a pioneer of improv. She created a lot of improvisation exercises in the 1940s and 50s in Chicago. She goes by the name of Viola Spolin. And she was an American theater academic, educator, and acting coach. And she created the exercises that were later called theater games, HB, which sounds like a play or something, but these are actually the exercises that one does before a show. The warm-up exercises, they're called theater games. And Viola was the one that came up with these, and she started teaching people. And people started teaching people, when you train the trainers, capacity building, people started building on that. And Viola's going to come back later on because she's related to a person that we're going to discuss further down in the show.
Quick shout out, Richard Groom, Jimmy Groom's tuned in. He says, Rastaman Vibrations, sup, my peeps. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a while since we've seen you. Today we're talking about improv. Jimmy knows, he's a funny guy. He knows how we used to roll back in the day, cracking jokes
hard.
And stuff. Yeah.
Go deep.
So it's good to see you. Good to see you tuned in. So what's next on our research?
So HB, the rules of improv, my friends, very important. When you do improv, you got to follow specific rules, man. Rules that are there to help you stay on track. to help you not to ruin the experience for everyone. So one of the first things on the rule block HB is, it's funny that I said block because it is don't block. And this refers to not saying no unless you will add something to the scene with the no. I think for the most part, it's just don't block.
Yeah. So maybe an example of this, I would be like, hey, Joe, tell me about your trip to Chicago.
No.
The whole thing comes to an abrupt stop. From there, I could be like, well, so you stayed here, I guess, and then, but that doesn't really flow,
And then you wrap it up.
So the first rule of improv is don't block, try and keep things flowing.
And I think HB and I have discussed this quite a lot because I think at least you and I have a certain amount of confidence, with each other. We know each other that I know that if I'm doing something and we're improvising together and I say, HB, is the sky blue? And you say no, you're not just going to leave it at no. You're going to add something to that we can work with. But I think that really depends on, the amount of
trust that you've built up.
Trust. That's right.
And I want to add a little addendum, maybe a little hashtag next to that is, in the same sense, don't allow yourself to be blocked because, imagine you're at a meeting and then I was like, well, Joe, why don't you tell me about last quarter's profit and loss statements?
No.
So I can't just be like, so that feeling of being blocked is something an experienced performer knows how to get around, otherwise you'll get clenched with fear. You'll be like, what do I say next? So in the same vein as don't block, you also have to remember, don't let yourself be blocked. Don't let that block close you off and kind of try to stay open and see what you want to do. And what Joe's saying is like, we've performed enough that if I do say no, we have enough trust and experience together to know that I'm trying to use that as a way to move on to something else and not block the scene.
Because exactly, and just on that, for the most part, improv is a team activity, team sport, if you will. You can't improvise. I mean, I guess you could improvise on your own, but you'd be doing like a monologue, and what's the fun in that?
That would be I guess that'd be more stand-up, right?
Yeah, and so like if you're improvising, and I have a very vivid example of someone blocking me, and I can say it here because Aquilino knows very well that he blocked me super hard, and it was the first year that I'd ever done improv. But nevertheless, I rolled with the punches. We had a scene together in which he just kept saying no to everything I told him. He said no, he said no, he said no. And of course, the audience was eating it up because they're like, man, this guy's really good at saying no. But in my head, I was like, how am I going to move this scene forward? Thankfully, I was able to move it forward successfully, and it was funny. But if you think about it, if you're like HB says, you got to try to not let yourself get down by the no, get knocked down by the block. But say you're a first-time performer and you're doing a scene, and first time you're in front of an audience, and you're like, HB, can you tell me what time it is? No.
No.
Okay.
A quick shout out. Dan Norman's tuned in. He says, cheers, RapScallions. And he says, we all improv every day. Very wise. Very true.
That's very true. That's very true. It's very true. Improving your way through life, man. The next one, HB, of our rules is avoid questions. Here it's like avoid open-ended questions, because I guess you want to have questions that can be answered. This one, I like to get your take on this one, because I think it's like, just avoid, unless you're adding something to the scene with your question, right?
Yeah.
Not simply put your partner under pressure. So it's just like, I have nothing else to say. So I'll be like, HB, what sex is Bigfoot? And you're like, what?
Hermaphrodite. Well, yeah. And it's kind of like, I do this to Joe all the time on the show. Whenever there's a technical difficulty, I do this. I break this rule all the time, but Joe is such a seasoned and experienced professional. One time we had very serious connection problems, and I was just like, Joe, tell us about your experience with calypso music. And then I started pushing buttons, and Joe went off on this most beautiful 10-minute soliloquy about calypso music, which he has very little experience in, but he improvised amazingly.
Until that day.
Yeah.
Until that day, man. But yeah, I guess you just have to, yeah. I don't know. Just make sure when you ask questions that they're not open-ended. Make sure they have like a good possible answer, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's also like what we do when we're interviewing guests. Tell us about your past. And it's like,
Yeah. Like what do you want to know about my past?
Yeah, like, Joe,
Something
where are you
specific.
from? Yeah, I'm from here. Like, Joe, what did you study? You want to have specific questions.
I mean,
and
it's like
open
a
it-
radio host, I guess, right? You
Yeah.
know, like you have to make sure you ask questions that get answers, not just like questions that are just like,
Yeah, you're making it tough for the other person to answer it. They're kind of like, what does that mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
nebulous.
that's right. Because remember, you're trying to like keep a scene moving. You're trying to create a scene. You're trying to create a moment, a location, something that people will understand. HB, the next one is focus on the here and now.
Be present.
Be present. Exactly, man. That is so important for improv. That was one of those things that Danielle Miles would drill into our minds every day. Be present.
Very
That's all
happy
about-
that she is tuned in. She's
Yeah,
tuned
man.
in. She was our introduction to improv through the Improv 8 improv group at the Theater Guild of Ancon. Another shout out to Dan Norman. He says he has an addendum to his previous. He said before he said we all improv every day, and then Dan Norman says some better than others. Ha, that's very true. Very true.
That is very true. But yeah, you guys got to be present. You got to listen, man. Active listening is key in improv. As we said earlier, it is a team activity. It is a team sport.
And this is you can all imagine how this would help you in your everyday lives. How improv training will help you in your everyday life is listening. Instead of thinking of what you're going to say, you should be listening and let that improvisation instinct react to what that person's saying. If you're sitting there trying to figure out what you're going to say next, you're not listening.
You're not listening, and that leads to doo-doo improv. Because you're not listening. And you got to listen to each other, man. Team sport.
Use your ear holes.
That's right, man. That's right. The next rule, HB, is establish the location.
Yes.
Establish the location.
Sometimes in improv, you'll ask the audience, where are we at? If it's something that doesn't require audience participation in establishing the location, then you do that through the improvisation. I'd be like, hey, Joe, how are your high heels doing with this dirt here?
And I'll be all like, oh, man, it's terrible. Who thought it would be good to scale Mount Kilimanjaro in heels?
Yeah. So we've added two things with that. He's wearing high heels, which is it's a beautiful thing. He does it very well. And he's also got a way to set up his Kilimanjaro joke. So that's how you build, is by establishing the location.
That's right. That's right. HB, we got 2 shout outs on the Instagram. We got Kim says it was impossible to block Norm Macdonald. He says, what a loss. Indeed. That was a terrible loss.
Let's have a moment of soulful comedic reflection on the passing of Norm Macdonald. He was a very unique comedian.
Yeah.
And I think the lesson through his comedy was commit to your bit.
That's right. And man, I tell you, yeah, great guy.
Moving right along. Thank you,
Moving
Norm,
right
for
along.
all your contributions to comedy. It was.
Thank you.
I've been listening to a lot of comedians give their reflections about Norm Macdonald and his contributions to comedy, and an audience member might not appreciate his genius, but when comedians speak amongst themselves, they usually say, "Man, that guy is a genius. I can't believe he pulled it off," or "I can't believe he had the guts to try and sell that bit." And I can't believe he had the guts when his bosses told him, "You can't talk about that." He's like, "Oh yeah,
Watch
talk about it anyway." And then he got fired. He's like, I don't care. I'm not gonna not do comedy because this guy told me not to do it. So he was 100% a comedian.
That's right, man. So you gotta. I guess that just boils down to the fact you gotta believe in yourself, man.
For sure.
Do what you got to do. We also have another shout out here from Carina. She says, whenever, again, she's also an improv legend. Knows how to improv really well. And also an awesome artist on retainer for the RapScallions for $1 million a month. So nobody can take her away from us. She says, whenever I feel blocked, especially when I have to write something, is that what HTA means? I don't know what the kids write. They write a lot of acronyms these days. HTA, STH means something, I guess.
Grand Theft Auto. What?
Or do a presentation. I play missing letter in my head or out loud, and it instantly unblocks her.
All these tips and tricks. Danielle Miles also, shout out to her. She says, you guys are awesome. Miss you big time. Hugs. We miss you so much, Danielle. And, thank you for all the tools that you imparted in us and for launching us in this trajectory. We've been having so much fun. Thanks.
Seriously, man.
In large part to our experiences in Improv.
Without a shadow of a doubt. HB, the next rule I have here on this list is change.
Right now.
Change.
You gotta change. Oh,
yeah, I gotta change my trousers.
Change your trousers, change your socks, and change those undies, please.
Yes, something does mean STH. See, I'm down with the millennials and these kids.
You're so cool, Joe.
Man. Anyway.
I'm old and look at all these gray hairs coming in. I don't know what these youths are saying. I was like, Grand Theft Auto? What?
Yes.
GTA? What?
STH, man. Means something.
Okay.
STH.
Gotcha.
Jeez.
Loud
Anyways,
music.
with change, I guess just kind of keep it moving, man. Keep it moving. Keep the ideas fresh.
Don't stay in the same place. Keep changing. And once you get moving, then you got to close it up and end the story.
That's right, man. That's right. And then the next one I have, HB, is a key one. And this is say yes and. Yes and.
This is, if you go to any improv or person who works in improv and you just walk up to them and say yes and, they'll know exactly what you mean. This happens a lot if you listen to the Conan O'Brien podcast. He was trained in improv, and he actually studied improv with Lisa Kudrow from Friends fame.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yes and is very popular. So when you say yes and, before we were talking about blocking, and we talked about the word no. So you want the opposite of that. You want things to keep flowing. So you say yes and. So I'll be like, Joe, let's rent a buffalo and ride it down to the beach.
Yes, and then we can teach it to swim and get to Hawaii.
Yes, and once we get to Hawaii, we can put it on a rotisserie and baste it with pineapple sauce.
Yes, and we can also order some India Pale Ales to wash it down.
Yes, and once we're done, we can get a massage and live happily ever after.
Buzz.
So the idea behind yes and is that you're accepting what the person says. You're saying yes, and you're adding to it. So that can help you in your personal life in several ways, especially in your business life, by listening, accepting what they're saying, and adding to it.
That's right. And yes, and like HB said, one of the key things people will teach you whenever you're learning how to do improv, whenever you're trying to do improv, we even play a game. We do an exercise where all we do is say yes and to one another for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And we have to make it as wild and wacky and big as possible. And that helps you kind of get into the zone of yes and. Because man, if there's one of the things about improv, it's very mental, right? You have to be in the right mental space. And it's a team sport, and everyone has to be there together. If you have someone in that team who's being all negativo, that's going to bring your crew down. So yes and is key to life and to improv.
Once we get through the rules, we'll explain to you more about some of the games that we play. Not necessarily the games that we play on stage, but the games that we play in practice to try and unlock that part of the brain that'll cause that fluidity with your creativity. That rhyme, baby. Hey, write that down, Joe.
Oh, snap. I got it.
Fluidity in the creativity. And allow you to, just think like a kid again and smile and have that energy and keep adding to the story. If you watch little kids playing, they'll be like, oh, yeah, and I'm an alien from Mars. And oh, yeah, and I have a base on on the moon, and they keep doing that. So
Yeah,
uh,
it's the truth. And
that's
we'll talk more about this later on because about the benefits of improv. HB's already mentioned a couple of them because it's just that, man. When you see kids when they're playing, they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we do this, yeah. They're not like, it's not like one of the kids says, oh, and I'm going to be the Terminator. And then the other kid's like, oh, he's the Terminator. So I guess I can't be anything. No.
wow. Barry Bolton.
No. And the final thing, HB, I have on this list here is after the and, add new information. I mean, it's a given.
Yes.
Given. Yes. Add new information. Help the scene move along.
Help the scene move along. You probably heard it in our example. We kept adding to it. Yes, and this. Yes, and that. Yes, and this. And then we closed it up and we finished the scene. That was completely improvised, and it's copyrighted. So don't anyone try to steal our little Hawaii adventure, okay?
Yeah, if we hear anybody riding buffaloes to Hawaii, you're gonna hear from our lawyers.
Ooh, we have the most demonic and hellacious lawyers in all of the small town side of Santa Clara, Cocle.
That's right, man. HB, my friend. Next on our rundown, brother, we have to talk about our own personal experiences with improv. How do you feel about that?
Wow, this is we got to make sure we stay on track because we've already seen some people that we've improvised with, and we were trying to kind of save it for this section of the show, but we let slip just out of fun and charisma. So this is going to be fun. Let's get started, man.
Yeah, man. Tell me, HB, what was your first improv experience like? Were you a young child just coming into your own, maturing, when all of a sudden someone stopped you in an alley and said, hey, boy, you want to do improv?
Very, very insightful, Joe. And you're right. I was a young man. I was visiting Wonderland Ranch, and Michael Jackson came out, and he's like, "Do you want to follow me and see my collection of bones?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, like, "Elephant Man bones," and I was like, "Yeah." And that was my first experience with improv.
That led you down the improv road.
Yeah. I'm perfectly normal. So my first experience with improv, I'd seen it on TV, and honestly, I thought it was fun, but I didn't really know what it was. I'd watch shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway? But I enjoyed it for its entertainment value, but I didn't give it the microscope piercing view. And so I'd come back to Panama. I went with a friend to watch one of the improv. Yeah.
What friend? Tell us.
If Nick is still tuned in, I went with Adam, and I don't remember which improv it was, but I was the annoying guy in the background screaming masturbation over and over again.
Oh, there's always one.
I thought that was the most hilarious thing ever.
But now you know. Now you know better.
And every time someone screams out masturbation in the crowd, I have a little chuckle.
That used to be me.
That used to be me. How I've grown over the years. So, Joe, why should you not? Why are we talking about masturbation? Why is that not a good suggestion from the crowd?
I guess it depends on. First of all, I guess just to explain really quickly, the way HB and I were brought up in the improv game, we were taught that it's easy to be crass, and if you're trying to look for jokes by saying curse words and by just being
always
crass,
going naughty, always
going naughty.
Yeah, like in the biz they call it going blue.
Going blue, yeah.
Yeah, don't go blue. So that's kind of like the cheap avenue. That kind of it takes you down a one-way street. So if you limit yourself from taking the easy way out, you tend to blossom in other areas. So
that's right. Your
by
mind
limiting
grows.
Yeah, you'll find other ways to fill that void. No pun intended.
That's right. So when you're at an improv show and people are asking for suggestions and someone yells out masturbation
continuously,
what are you going to do with that?
Really loud. So, of course, if the people on the stage decide to use that suggestion, it's kind of like a a one and out type of situation.
Yeah, basically. Because
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead. You suggested it.
I know, it's awful. So, just to close off that chapter of this horrible joke is stay away from the lewd humor, and maybe if you're doing a improv at a bar at 2 a.m, maybe you can bring that in and have fun once you're more experienced. But anyway, so that was one of my first experiences with improv in Panama. And then later on is when I became, when I came back and found out the Theater Guild was still operating after so many years, I was so happy. I really enjoyed Improv 8, and I was becoming active in the theater on stage as being an actor. And when they had improv classes, and I signed up so fast, I think that I melted the pen,
Mm-hmm,
Yes,
mm-hmm,
of course. How could I forget this? Nick Miles, in quotes, just wrote chicken sexa.
Chicken sexer. Yes. It was a brilliant suggestion that we got several times during one year. Chicken sexer. That wasn't you, was it, HB?
No. That's way too highbrow for me. All I could think about was masturbation at that point in my life.
We were looking for what was it?
Occupation.
Occupation, and someone was yelling chicken sexer. Because apparently someone does that for money.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Right. So someone who has so much experience, they can pick up a small chick, look at its nether regions, and say, this is a male chick, or this is a female chick, and put it back on the conveyor belt and look and see, oh, this is a male chick. And you know what they do with that one, Joe?
What do they do with it?
They put it in a shredder.
Oh, man, that's terrible. That's discrimination. Hey, we've got a shout out in the Instagram, Carina, filling our heads with knowledge. She says, when the show is allowed to go blue, it just opens the door up for it to go real crazy. She says she was doing a show once, and one audience member suggested rape as a scene.
Yeah,
that's a no-no.
Very true. Yeah. First of all,
that's a no-no.
That shows our comfort with rape culture, which is a big X.
Totally. There's nothing funny about rape.
Light about that. Yeah.
No.
So, just to keep going on the story is, I participated, and a lot of people ask me, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, I was just sprung forth from the ocean and started improvising." No, I went through several classes before I got accepted on the team, and I know a lot of people did one class and didn't get chosen for the team, and they stopped trying altogether, which you should absolutely not do. So. I think I took 2 improv classes, and on the third one, I made it into the actual troupe. So, you take this class, and if the, Danielle and the rest of her team decide they want you to participate in the Improv 8, of which there are 8 improvisers, then you're on the team, and then you do a series of shows. But I can tell you, I was still in the business world, where I was very active in the business world. And after that first improv class, I could honestly tell you guys, it changed the way I had my meetings in the business world. It helped me monumentally. If someone asked me a question I didn't know, I could quickly take it and say, I think what you mean to ask is this. I didn't know the answer to what he was saying. But I was like, that's a good question, but I think what you mean to ask is this. And then I talked to them, and I slung it right back at them so well. They're like, oh yeah. And they, I didn't answer the question they wanted, but I fulfilled their need to know more about the business, and was able to keep the meeting moving in a way that was very beneficial to me and my business endeavors. So after that, I was fascinated by improv, and I took the class again, and I had so much fun. And I pass the baton to you. How did you? What's your first exposure to improv, and tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, HB. Well, I think similar to you, of course, it was with Improv at the Theater Guild of Vancon. Of course, I'd done theater before when I was in high school and stuff, when I was youngin', coming up in the game. But never improv. I'd watched Whose Line Is It Anyway, and I loved it. And I saw these guys on TV, and I was like, man, these guys are amazing. They're remarkable. How do they do this? I wish I could do that. And of course, I've always liked rap and hip hop, so I was always kind of like doing the freestyle thing. Though I never thought I was very good at freestyling, so I was just like, oh man, whatever, this sucks. And then I got invited to go do an improv workshop at the Theater Guild 2009 by Andres Clemente, whose birthday it was yesterday, by the way. So happy birthday.
Shout out
To Andres Clemente. Birthday shout-outs. Yeah, go ahead.
Nick Miles added to that. He said Francis Icaza. I knew, but wasn't he the host, or was he the
No,
one
I think that year
contestant?
he wasn't. That year he wasn't the host. That year he was a chicken sexer.
He was messing with us then.
Yes. That year he was the chicken sexer.
That's true.
Shout out to Francis Icaza. Guys, what you gotta understand, whenever we did Improv 8, that was like a festival. It was amazing. It was like the best time ever. For us and for the audience, it was like a synergy, total synergy, having the best time on stage. Too much fun to go around.
Like you said, it was a festival. And, just to nail home a point that we mentioned very, very quickly earlier, each show is different because the games might be the same, but since there's a new audience, there's new suggestions, there's a breath of fresh air in the theater, every show is going to be different, completely different from the one before. And we had people come 2-3 nights in a row.
That's right. And they would be like, oh my God, tonight was totally different to yesterday. And we're like, yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, man. But yeah, so I got invited to do an improv workshop 2009. It was cool. I'd never done something like this before. And of course, before, I was very shy. I'm still quite shy, but I was more shy back then. So I was like, man,
Joe, so humble.
So humble. I was like, I'm never going to get picked. I was like, I'm never going to get picked for this. I'm not as good as all these other people. I think I've told the story before, but anyways, I'm telling it again. So I had to go for work. I had to go away. So I was in Colombia, and this is when they were picking the cast for the show of Improv 8, 2009. And I remember I got an email from Danielle saying I was selected. And I was like, what? Me? I couldn't believe it. This was groundbreaking for me. I thought I had won the lottery, man. I was like, I could not believe that I got chosen to be in a show at the Theater Guild. I had gone there. I'd seen people on stage. I was like, I'm going to be acting with those people? Wow. I couldn't believe it. So then we did the show, and it was super fun, and it was eye-opening. And it was just like HB says. I think learning from that experience and seeing the way the crowd reacts to the things you say, the things you do, like it's a boost, man. It makes you feel really, really good knowing that you have so much control, and it's spontaneous control. It's not something you plan to do. Because like HB said, when we start the show, we don't know, like, this is a joke I'm going to say. You don't know. Stuff just happens in the moment, and people react, and you're like, oh, how amazing. And I remember after that, because you'd be surprised how many people go and see you. I'd be at meetings, and I'd be sitting somewhere like all quiet and stuff, feeling all like, oh, I don't know anything about this. And people will come up to me like, I saw you in improv. You're amazing. And then, of course, that would be a confidence boost, right? And then you'd be like, I can transfer what I did on stage to my personal life. And I can be that person that I am on stage. I don't have to sit here and be like, nobody understands anything that I want to say. Feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah. So that was really cool. And I think over the years, you keep training, because you train, you go and you learn, you talk with your colleagues, your friends, we discuss games, what worked here, what didn't work here, what can we do better, this and that. And it's always about constant improvement, right? And HB, you and I have done improv for how many years? I don't know, like a long time.
Yeah, many years.
Right. To the point where you're just like, this is super cool. And then you get on stage and you're like, I know what I want to do. And you know that you're part of a team and that you want to make your teammates feel good, look good. Because at the end of the day, the success is all of ours. Yeah. It's not about right. It's not about you were funnier than me today. It's about we kicked booty today, and about feeling good about what we did.
Yeah, when we talked about some of the rules, there's some unwritten rules as well. Like the reason why you want to keep flowing is because you never know when you're going to hit on a creative spark. Mm-hmm. So maybe I come up with an idea that isn't so great, but by Joe saying yes and building on top of it, and then I build on top of that, and then somewhere that magic sauce combines, and the next idea just blows up and the crowd is like, wow. And that's where the magic sauce is. That's where the spark is at. So sometimes, as exactly what you said, Joe, sometimes you need to know when to add, and sometimes you know when to take a step back and let
That's
that
right.
other performer move forward. And that's one of the most crucial ideas in theater is the interchange of power.
Mhm.
So in improv, if I see Joe lighting up in the crowd, you can feel it's a swell. It's like catching a wave when you're
Mhm.
surfing. If you feel that, you kind of, I was like, I see Joe. Joe's about to catch that wave. I'm just going to throw in stuff to support him so that he can build the idea. And so
Mhm.
that's also important in personal life and in business, when to know when to take a step back and someone else take the charge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You definitely learn a lot about not being selfish, because of course everyone wants to be the cool person. Everyone wants to be the star, but you will get your chance
Yeah.
to shine.
If the team looks good,
Yeah,
you look good.
exactly, exactly. So I forgot I was talking about my experiences with Improv 8. Yeah. So I mean, I think overall, I think it's been very. I think Improv 8 was a game changer in Panama, definitely. At the Theater Guild, I think for us as well, it helped us really grow and become more confident in our craft. Ultimately, what we're doing now, the foundation of that is what we built with Improv 8, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was like I mentioned earlier, it was behind the wings that we formed. We formed this Rapping with RapScallions first just to record your rap songs. And lo and behold, every time we got together, we just improvised with each other. We just sit there talking and keep adding to each other until this most ridiculous stuff would would happen while just in conversation. We're just having fun, chatting on a ride home from theater rehearsal or something,
Hmm.
and that snowballed and led to this live show and podcast.
True that, man. True that. And I think when was the last year we did Improv 8? 2017?
And
18?
yeah, I think it was 2017. Um, but why don't we talk? We've got some very important people tuned in who
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah, yeah.
instrumental. What's the? And I know we don't have the 100% accurate version of history, but Joe, tell us about how Improv 8 was even formed.
How Improv 8 was formed. Man, I'm about to start talking smack. So if I'm saying something that's not correct, please tell me. So,
Yeah,
HB. So Nick and Danielle, right? They got on a
yeah,
ship. They were in England. They got on a
yeah.
ship and they sailed to Panama. Because in case you didn't know, Nick Miles is a master sailor and Danielle is
She
also.
weaved she weaved the sails.
She weaved the sails. So whenever they got struck by lightning, she would
Mhm.
fix them by weaving them.
Yeah. And
So
then once they
after
got struck by lightning, Nick was imparted with magical electrical powers, and that's why he always did lighting at the guild.
That's right. And that's
Mhm.
why we never lost power once at the guild while they were here.
True. True story. 100% true.
So they got here. And then I think the first improv show at the guild was called Improv 8.5. And this was in 2008.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. I don't know. You're much more of a veteran than I am, sir. So I tip
I
my top
think
hat to you.
I think it was in 2008. I wasn't involved in this, by the way. So I don't know if what I'm saying is true, but I think it is true. And then in today's day and age, if I said it, it's true. So there you go.
There you
So it was 2008, Improv 8.5. It was a crew. Danielle assembled them like the Avengers. They did Improv 8.5. It was cool, I guess. And then all of a sudden in 2009, Danielle was like, you know what? It's very common for people to reboot things. So let me reboot Improv 8.5 as Improv 8, and I'm gonna have new auditions to get a fresh cast, kind of like what they did
Beautiful.
with Spider-Man and Batman and all these
Amazing.
other shows. So she had a rehearsal audition type thing, 2009. She got fresh faces on there. She had people like Faroon, and she had people like Maria Teoxtico, and she had people like Ines Aizprua, and she had Andres Clemente and Ricardo Gurcia, and
Amit
she had
Nathani
Amit
and
Natani, and she had
I
so
know
many
I'm going to
names.
mess up this list.
Steve Purdom. Steve Purdom,
Purdom.
who is one of the most energetic people in the world. That man jumped on my back. I don't know how many times, how many different sketches. I love him to death. Steve Purdom. So it was a cool crew. Of course, it was more than 8 people, so we had to rotate every other night, to give everybody a chance to be on the show. And then some years we do a little bit more than 8 people, and then other years we would do just the 8 people. I thought it was cool when we just had the 8 people, because it allowed for the cast to really like bond.
Yeah,
I feel like
there was one
reading
year
something.
that it was kind of like switching out participants,
Yeah.
something like that.
Are you reading something?
Yeah, I'm well, yeah, I'm trying to. The research department is a little slow today. Our internet is a little messed up as far as the research department, who's located in a secret base in Japan.
That's right.
They're not doing a very good job of getting us the information that we require.
I think it was cool when we had the eight people, just because it did allow us all to kind of get to know each other better, feel comfortable with each other, play games. I mean, because when you're doing improv with people, you really have to give yourself, to the team. You have to like feel comfortable.
It's trust. Yeah, you have to let your guard down and believe in them and be comfortable in allowing yourself to be creative. And
man, I had
stage. Yeah,
I had a very good example of that. I remember my first year we did improv. I was doing a scene with Varun Anand, very talented guy, talented individual. He's in India right now. Shout outs to Varun. And we were playing a game called Audience Statues, HB. I don't know if you ever played that game.
Isn't that the one where there's a microphone goes out into the audience?
No. This one. So you get 2 people to come out from the audience, and this is the one that got me stuck in my Aquilino block game, which I managed to work my way out of. But this one I was doing it with Varun, right? And so this kid came up and this other kid came up, and they positioned us in a way where I was like,
oh yeah.
What am I? What I was completely. I was like, I didn't know what was gonna happen. And I'm standing there, and I'm just like, what the heck are we gonna do? And then I remember Varun was also in some other position, and I'm just there, and I think he must have seen the look of fear on my face, and he goes like, "Don't worry, man, I got this." I was like, "All right, take us on a ride, man."
Light that chariot up,
and boom. Off we went. And that's the thing. You have to trust in your scene partner, your colleagues, your friends, your brothers, your sisters, the people that you're there. Because ultimately, the success of the scene, the success of the show depends on that.
Very true. Danielle Miles says, you guys are correct. 2008 with 8-9 member cast. Thanks to Amit and Varun.
There you go. Shout out to Varun. Shout out to Amit. Integral parts of that team, man. Parts of that team. Have a shout out over here, my friend, on the grams from Kim. He's responding to Carina's comment about the rape scene. He says, so Carina, to not be blocked, you get a broom handle from the prop box and ask the audience member to join you on stage.
And beating the guy who suggested
rape.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No.
But yeah, man. Improv. 8. Successful show, wonderful show, beautiful show. And plus we got some nifty polos out of it.
And when Danielle repatriated to jolly old England with Nick,
that's right.
They passed the baton on to Amit Nathani.
That's right.
And I think there was another original member.
Rita Banus.
Rita Banus, yes.
Yeah,
that's
totally forgot, man. Can't forget about Rita, man. Go Rita.
Yeah,
shout out to Rita.
She's so
Sorry,
fun
Rita.
to improvise with.
She is.
And it was always fun when we were the guest comedians on Deep Fried Comedy. It was always me and Rita coming up with these using our improv skills to come up with these whack interludes while these other guys would change. She was
totally
very fun to improv with. And
I remember the first year that we did the show, after Danielle and Nick had sailed back to the UK, on dolphins, riding on the backs of dolphins. Rita had lost her voice, so she had to do the show with like a microphone, right? So she was wearing a microphone, to be able to project because her voice was very low.
Very
I had
hoarse.
forgotten about that, man. That's a good memory.
Yeah, man.
That's a really good memory. And Amit took the show to new heights, man. It had a much more of a festival experience now. Remember, we show up to the guild and there would be like breweries,
Rock and roll
stuff,
bands.
rock and roll bands, and people would just be so excited. It was a total event. It was like Lollapalooza, or what's that one?
Adalooza.
Improv Adalooza,
Woodstock.
man. Woodstock. Woodprov 8. It was super cool, man. Hey, and people loved it. People loved it, and they would just like have the best time ever. And it was fun having fun on stage. I think that's the thing I miss the most about doing improv shows is having fun with our friends on stage.
Yeah.
Because for us, we were playing.
Yeah, we're playing. And what you said about trusting your castmates, I've never been the one that knows exactly all the rules of each game. I just kind of go out there and use my instincts and try to make it happen. And I remember Juan.
Juan de la Guardia. Shout out to Juan, no doubt.
Mr. Bunts. We got picked for a certain scene, and I looked at him. I was like, I have no idea how to do this. Like completely blanked. And he leans in. He's like, "Don't worry, I got you." The same way Varun backed you up.
No
So
doubt.
those are beautiful moments on stage.
Yeah.
We also had an improv show at Tantalo. Remember that?
We
Were you there
did.
for that?
Was that? Oh no, I was there for the one we had. No, I didn't do Tantalo, but I did one of those other hipster places in Casco.
Casa Soldado.
Luna's Castle. I was in Casa del Soldado, yes, but Luna's Castle.
That was fun too.
That was fun, yeah.
We did a few birthday parties. That was fun too. But trying to get those people to participate was tough when you're doing the smaller shows. I mean, the audience participation was essentially zero, but they still had a ball.
Hey, speaking of audience participation, man, RapScallions did an improv show at the Hilton. So a company reached out to us. They were like, "Yo, we've seen you guys. We know you guys do improv real well. Can you guys hook us up?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure,
Of course.
of course." Especially in times of COVID, man, we'll help you guys out. So we rocked up to the Hilton, and it was me, HB, Carina, and how many people were in there? It must have been like.
Well, we followed the guidelines of the COVID guidelines at the moment, so we were in
Totally.
We were in
super big room.
yeah.
Total
then
social
everyone-
distancing.
People were in a horseshoe table way far away from us. We had microphones on. And we had the shield masks on.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a shout out. Carina Manning is tuned in. She's like, you should do one for our next BHS reunion. You got it. We're going to be there.
Dude. Send us a WhatsApp. Or an
We'll hook
SMS.
that up. We'll hook that up.
But we did it for the people at the Hilton, man. They loved it. And I think what I loved the most about that, in the build up to it, HB, Karina, and I, we got together, man. We played some games, and it was hilarious. We had so much fun because it was revisiting this part of our past lives that we hadn't done in a minute, right? And it was too much fun. And then during the show, of course, a lot of these people hadn't seen an improv game before. And so they were like, I think they were curious, and they were just like, what's going on? What are they going to do? And then sometimes they were quiet, but we could see by looking at them that they were just kind of there like, what's happening?
Yeah,
What's going on?
they look like kids waiting for Santa Claus to hand out the presents.
Yeah. It was super fun. Seeing people that had never witnessed an improv show before, just kind of for them, it was like, because of course they probably assumed that we were going to be stand-up comedians or something and be like, what's the deal with these people on the metro bus?
Nick Miles chimes in. He says, Relic. That's the
Relic
Castle.
Luna's Castle. That's right. Relic, man.
Oh, you guys had a show up in Coronado, remember? With the one guy sitting right in front?
Yes. There was a guy, man. Listen, guys. We had a show up in Coronado, man.
I was in support crew back then.
HB was supporting us. HB and Karina, man. They gave us strength. Man, the stage was super crazy because it was like the way the stage was set up, it was like a catwalk, right? So you had people on either side, like all over. The stage was a peninsula, right? And you had water on all sides. And there
By
was this
water,
one
we mean muddy water.
yeah. And there was this one guy sitting here at the front. Like if it's Florida, he's sitting on Key West, man. He's there. And he was just like,
Yeah.
I'm not. And for some reason, whenever you're doing a show, you always want to play to the person that you can see is not laughing. Because you're like, this fool
I'm gonna
laugh.
I'm gonna break this fool. I'll break him down.
I'm gonna
Make
break
him
him.
laugh.
But no, he stayed strong, man. He stayed strong. I think the most difficult part about that was that you had to do your scene and you had to like look this way, look to the front, look to the side, look to the side. Just make sure you engaged everyone. Whereas when you're normally on a stage, you're just like everyone's there.
Yeah.
That was hard, man. It was fun. It was hard.
Very hard.
It's hard. Especially that guy. He never broke, man. Kudos to this guy, wherever you are, man.
That guy, man. There's a position in the casinos called a cooler.
Uh-huh.
And a cooler is someone that if you have someone playing dice, for example, in Las Vegas, and they're winning lots of money, they can't be beat, they'll put a cooler in there. And a cooler is someone that turns everything down like,
oh man.
That guy was a cooler, man.
Ese man era un cooler. Tú eres un cooler. That's what I'm gonna start using that from now on. Whenever somebody comes up at me with some like negative stuff, be like, hey, eres un cooler.
Tú eres un cooler. That's like an agua fiesta.
Yeah.
So Carina Manning brings up a good point. We should perform at our next Balboa High School reunion. We are currently on for hire in Panama. We did a show, like Joe said, at the Hilton, and we have a couple potential shows on the horizon. If you need someone at a party, at your bar, or at your event, or as a maybe you have a corporate event and you want to show, or maybe team building exercises, we can formulate a training session where we can teach your employees the benefits of improvisation and how to use the tools in our improv toolbox to help you excel at work, help you
True that, man.
help you listen.
And if you need hosts as well, man, HB and I, we've hosted stuff in the past. I don't know, those of you that have been to the British Race Day, I've hosted it. HB's hosted it. Maximum host. We know how to host.
We're the hosts with the most.
You get the two of us together. Magic.
Oh, look at this. We have some here's some improv from one of our viewers. Miss Dauda Emanuel says, greeting to the general public. I want to tell you about how I was cured of herpes virus by a doctor called Dr. Omezojiwe.
Man, that guy sounds like a genius.
Yeah, man. He cured herpes. Maybe we can hire Miss Dauda Emanuel to cure spam mail, and unwanted comments. Moving right along, we got a shout out here to Captain Andy. Captain Andrew Ethemiadis is tuned in. He said, I'd like to create an event. Let's hype it up. Captain Andy's a RapScallion. He loves everything we do. Yes, absolutely. We can create a show for you, Captain Andy. Not a problem. RapScallions are here to please.
No doubt, man. We're here to please you
Make you
with
laugh,
whatever
make you
needs
have fun.
you. No doubt. HB.
So, yes, sir. You're making
now,
a drink.
Make a drink. Quality cups, courtesy of Stanley. These things are amazing. They have a bottle opener.
Do you have a talking point? I'm going to refill my Stanley.
I do have a talking point while you refill your Stanley, man. I just want to talk a little bit about perhaps one of the best. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I just want to talk a bit about one of the best, because I realize we're running out of time, man. And we still got some things to talk about. One of the best improv troops, locations in the world, after Improv 8 in Panama City, obviously, that I had the pleasure of witnessing while I was in Chicago. And of course, I'm talking about the Second City. The Second City, which is a really well-known improv troupe, improv theater, man. It is responsible for some of the greatest talents that we have seen in the world. A lot of great comedians have come out of there, including Alan Arkin, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, John Candy, John Belushi, Jan Aykroyd. Those are almost all the Ghostbusters right there. Chris Farley, Amy Fowler, Stephen Colbert, Kate McKinnon, Mike Myers. You've seen so many of these people on SNL in movies, and all these people came out of the Second City in Chicago, Illinois. Last Wednesday, I had the great chance and opportunity to go visit the Second City and watch a show in the Second City. It was pretty fantastic. RapScallions also had a story reshared by the Second City earlier this week.
So just to re-encompass everything Joe said, this is the last show ever because Joe and I have been hired by the Second City Improv Troupe. We're going to be moving to Chicago. Screw all of you. RapScallions dead. Go back.
But send us money. Send us money.
Go to our Panama RP. We've got some donation links. We've got Patreon. We even have some. Look at Joe's beautiful T-shirt, people. You tell me you don't want one of those?
It is. And we're coming out with brand new designs on the daily. Amazing.
Hey, can I tell the people? Chechi had a kid, man. Nikki and Chechi. Yeah. We made a RapScallions branded onesie. That's coming to the market soon, people. Mm-hmm. Keep your eyes peeled.
So you guys start having babies, okay? Start having babies.
Have little fam scallions.
That's what's happening right now. This was hot. Babies.
All right. So Captain Andy says he wants to have an improv show at Cascadas. We can definitely set that up. Carina Manning says, really? I think she's wondering about us canceling the RapScallions. You know what? For you, Carina, we're going to keep the show going while we're in Second City.
Just for you.
We can't abandon. Just for you. We're going to keep it alive.
Just for you. We'll send you videos every week, Sundays at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Just for you.
Just for you.
So HB, man. Huh?
What was your experience at Second City? I mean, that must be like walking into church.
Man, it was incredible. First of all, when I got to Chicago, I was like, man, I got to buy some tickets to go see the show because if I do it, if I don't do it, I'm going to feel sorry for myself. So I bought the tickets. We showed up. Their building is massive. They have like several stages. They have a training center. I was like, man, if this thing could happen in Panama, it would be like, a theater that has a stage for performing. It has a training center over here, where you can teach people about different things, about improv, about comedy writing, about all these things. I was like, this is brilliant. Really, really brilliant. So I went in, super cool, got there. We posted a story with an image of the main stage on our stories. The cast came out, hilarious guys and girls. And I think what I found most intriguing was, first thing, when we got there, right, they said, send your suggestions. They said, we're looking for suggestions for a place, an object, and some other thing I can't remember right now. And they said, text it to this number. So there was this was a message that was at our table when we sat down, and you had to send your suggestions to a number. So I thought this was amazing because for the most part, it eliminated a lot of the screaming from the audience, like chicken sexer or masturbation.
Masturbation. Chicken sexer.
So
Joe, you're taking the fun out of it.
But people showed up and they were like, I could see people on their phones. They were like, oh, snap, I got to send my suggestion. Send the suggestions. And the audience.
That's a good idea because a lot of people are too shy to voice their suggestion.
Exactly. And you could tell whenever they picked something that someone had chosen in the audience, you see someone be like, oh! They'd make some noise,
Like The Price is Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of my suggestions were selected.
That's because they know that you're a famous improviser. That's why.
I know. They were like, this guy. He's one of the RapScallions.
The RapScallions, famous.
It's famous. So it was super cool. They came out, and what I noticed was a lot of their games, they had a lot of games that were like sketches. So there was a premise to the game. So they had a game which was like a plane crash, right? And then when the crash happened, they developed a story around it. So on the plane crash, they had to devise a way that they were all connected in some way, the 6 performers. So they were like, welcome to this plane crash. And then they were sat there, and Second City has some chairs, which I guess is their logo. It's very famous. And the plane crashed, and then they're on a life raft, which is for 6 people. So, and they're like, oh, how convenient that this life craft is only for 6 people. Hilarity.
Corny.
So then they had to, of course, I didn't know that at the moment, at the time, but I was like, this is the best show ever. So, anyways,
Did you have the Second City #1 foam finger? Like
I did.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh my god, no, number
And
2.
you had a lollipop.
Number 2, because Improv 8 is number 1.
True.
So then they had to like devise ways in which all of them were connected. So then the one guy was like, and I think some suggestion came up or something, and it was like haunted Lego play set or some crap. And then some one guy was like, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and I was in a movie called such and such, blah, 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 blah. And I'm Ryan Reynolds. He said, I'm Ryan Reynolds so many times that I was like, you're not Ryan Reynolds. This is hilarious. Oh my God. So the way they
You're
were
drinking the Kool-Aid, huh? You're
I
like
was
this.
totally. I was eating it up. I had my bowl. I was eating it up. But it was hilarious. So I think the games that they had were games that were already set up, and then they had to like adapt different suggestions into these like sketches, if it makes any sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely. One of my favorite podcasts is called Mission to Zix.
Uh-huh.
And
Zix.
it's about XYZX, something like that.
Right.
Where it's kind of like a comedic mashup of Star Wars and space shows and stuff like that. And of course, the guy who's Luke Skywalker is just completely inept guy. And there's the producer is on the show, and he's like a dungeon master, you know?
Right.
Where he kind of guides them. There's a theme for the show. He's like, oh well, you've got a communication from Central, and you got to do this, and this, and everything that happens after that is improvised. And then he'll every time they need a course correction, he'll come in on the comm and be like, hey, you need to go to planet this and find the red shoes of whatever. And like, okay, we're gonna be right over there. And it's it's structured, but it's long form improv where you have bullet points, and then you have someone keeping you in the boundaries.
Well, this is kind of I feel this is kind of what that was. And then of course they had their director or stage manager, whoever, who was kind of keeping track of how the sketch was going. And then they would kind of be like, now is the time to end the sketch dark. And I saw it happen several times where someone would be like, what about so and so? Dark, before, because they were like, that's it. We've taken this as far as it can go.
There's no more juice in this lemon.
Yeah. There was a brilliant one about somebody. A suggestion was that Doors documentary, and it was like a father talking to his son about this boy he liked, and then you could tell that neither of them knew much about the Doors, and they were saying, and in the sketch they said, well, son, how about you dress up like Jim Morrison or whatever, because that is all I know about the Doors documentary. And so then they were kind of telling each other, and we were like cracking up because we were like, they don't know anything about the Doors. I don't know anything about the Doors. So then I guess that's the way of telling the director, like, this can only go so far.
Right.
We should wrap this up at some point.
We're at an impasse, but still creating comedy in the moment.
Yeah. So it was great. It was really, really, really inspiring, man. Like, I saw it and I was just thinking, like, this is wonderful. It was very political. There were a lot of political things, which after I did some reading afterwards, and I could see that, they're comedic, but they also do a lot of political things in Second City. Of course, there were jokes about, was it the 6th of January, taking a Capitol Hill, and, a lot of jokes about Trump and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. There was a lot of things about Black Lives Matter as well. There was some rapping from a girl, which I thought was amazing. I thought it was really, really cool. And just the way it reminded me about the stuff that we did.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. I was like, man, this is fresh. Like, I love it. Like, it's really, really great.
Do you feel like because you visited Mecca, your improv juices are refilled, like your batteries have been recharged?
No, I definitely feel that it was good. That it was a great experience. I did come back to Panama feeling refreshed. Just kind of like it was good to be away. And seeing people doing these creative things. And plus, I guess just Chicago is a home to so many famous rappers as well. That I was just, when I got there, I was like, oh man, so many famous rappers are from here. But going to Second City, and I was just kind of like, man, this is really cool. And seeing people doing this on stage and performing the way they did, I was like, yo, this is tight. Like, I wanted to get on stage with them. I was like, please, ask for somebody from the audience to come on stage to do something. But obviously, since COVID or whatever, you know, they don't know where I've been. They don't know what I've done.
Exactly. They're like,
They don't know anything.
RapScallions is famous, but those guys get in all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's true, man. But anyways,
security.
I just want to talk about some historical things first about Second City. Why is it called Second City? Because people have asked me that when I told them, like, hey, why'd you go there? And there's several theories, man. One was that Chicago was devastated. A lot of people know this. The Chicago fire, 1890. Chicago was devastated by a fire. And this fire happened because a cow kicked over a kerosene lamp and it burned the city down.
Truth.
So they had to rebuild Chicago. So then the current Chicago is the second city. That's the first theory. And I have an incredible historical tidbit for you, my friend, because I know you are someone who loves the history. So check this out. Check this out. A well-known Secretary of State was working for the New York something or other in 1890, and he was sent to Chicago to cover the Chicago fire, and he spoke to the owner of the cow and saw the cow.
John Hay.
That's right.
That guy did everything, man.
He did everything. He did everything. He did everything. I was like,
Wow.
No way, John. Hey, man. Incredible. Incredible. So, yeah, man, the Chicago
That's
fire.
incredible.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Because there's several schools and stuff named after John Hay in Chicago. And I was like, what the fudge, man? What's going on?
I want all the FamScallions to know, longtime viewers know, that our beloved Joe Mesquita played John Hay on stage in one of the most famous plays in Panama.
1903.
And, you can see his @ Joe Mesquita Instagram. Go there and you can see the historical rap that he wrote and created about John Hay. That
right.
thing will
The original
energize
John.
you. You'll be energized and educated.
Education, man. The original John Hay. Don't forget, man. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then HB, another theory as to why it's called the second city is apparently because there's a long-running feud between Chicago and New York, about which one is the largest metropolitan city. So New York, of course, is super metropolitan. So then Chicago is called the second city because it's not as huge as Chicago. And apparently there was this guy who worked for New Yorker magazine, this guy named AJ Liebling, and he went to visit Chicago, and he was like, "Man, this place is crap."
Yeah, compared to our city, this place is
it's crap. It's crap. It's crap. So, anyways, that's why they call it the second city. And so, just some history on Second City. They were formed by the son of Viola Spolin, who we spoke about earlier, in 1959. New York, cold winter's night, is a place where people could come and they could do improvisational comedy. And from there, it grew to become this global juggernaut of improv comedy and training.
incredible.
How incredible, man. Incredible. So it's the first ongoing improvisational theater troupe to be continually based in Chicago. They have training programs and live theaters in Toronto and Los Angeles. And they have become one of the most influential and prolific comedy theaters in the world. And of course, they've spawned some of the people I mentioned earlier that have gone on to become like incredible. They have a training center that was founded in the 80s.
Bill Murray, amazing.
Yeah. It's incredible. And when you walk in there, you see their faces posted on the walls and stuff, and you understand that you're walking into a place, like a very historic place. You know,
We're gonna at Captain Andy's Bed and Breakfast, Las Cascadas in Balboa. We're gonna have the RapScallions Hallway of Fame. What do you think about that, Captain Andy?
dude, I love it, man. I love it, and it's gonna be pictures of me and you and Carina.
And the video of us spinning around.
That's right. For ages, for years to come, and 200 years from now, when people walk into Las Cascadas, they're gonna be like,
amazing. This is where it all started.
That's right. 200 years from now, Captain Andy. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. For the children.
That's right, man. That's right. That's why we do it. It's for the children. HB, I'm aware it's past 4:30, and we still have to talk about improv for your life, man. Improv your life. I'm sorry. Improv your life. By the way, t-shirt coming soon. Don't tell nobody.
That's right. If you like this episode, You want to start putting your coins in a piggy bank, because we're going to have a beautiful T-shirt designed by Joe and Carina called "Improv Your Life." Improve your life. You get it? All right, people. Scallions are smart like that.
Improv your life, no doubt, man. HB, I'm going to tell you, let's talk about some of the ways that you can improv your life, the benefits of improv techniques in your life, my friend.
Yeah.
And the first one is live in the moment, because if you're only thinking of how to outmaneuver your teammate in conversation, then you're not really teammates. You know what I'm saying? You'll miss the magical inspiration in the moment.
For sure.
We talked about this earlier, dog, where you were saying about active listening. You got to listen to each other, man. You can't be, it's not a confrontation.
No. If in everyday life, you're just waiting to respond to someone instead of listening to them, you're not there for the right reasons, man.
No way, man. And there's plenty of people out there that are just trying to one up you. Don't one up.
No.
Listen.
Stop.
Collaborate. That's right, man. Collaborate and listen. Man. Vanilla Ice knew it all along, dog.
We're unlocking the keys to life with Vanilla Ice. Amazing.
Seriously, man. Seriously. Vanilla Ice, dog. Rob that wiggle. HB. First one, live in the moment. Second one, employ active listening. Don't interrupt others. Let them finish voicing their ideas.
And the most important places will help you not only in business life and maybe social life, but in your personal life with your family members, with your loved ones. Active listening is probably one of the key indicators of a successful relationship.
That's right, man. That's right. HB and I, when we talk to each other, we listen.
I'm listening to you, Joe.
That's right.
I hear what you're saying.
We got some shout outs, my friend, in the gram. Sass.Panama. Alex, he says vanilla, no doubt. Vanilla Ice, man. He's a poet. He's a poet.
A sage and a poet. And he rode jet skis and motorcycles, apparently.
That's right, man. Hey, Robert Martin from Intimo. Get intimate at Intimo, the best restaurant you could ever hope to visit. He says, all love. What if they voice their ideas for 30 minutes non-stop? Well, 30 minutes is a long time. So at some point, you're going to have to say, stop.
Yeah, you have to be assertive.
What are we trying to achieve
at the same time, be assertive, but also flex that active listening muscle. Carina Manning says, I teach my first graders about active listening.
Hey, you can only active listen for so long, man. I know people like to talk a lot. And sometimes, particularly at work, I got to be like, stop. What are we trying to achieve? What is our objective with this? That's right.
Yeah. So listen to Vanilla Ice, Robbie Martin.
Yeah,
if
man. Listen
you're
to
active
Bravo.
listening for so long, you have to say stop, collaborate, and listen.
That's right. Because after a while, it just becomes white noise.
Yeah.
And
Vanilla
Alex
noise,
says,
some might say.
Vanilla noise. Alex says, I call Bunch on that. He says he doesn't believe that Vanilla Ice rode jet skis and motorcycles. He did. Look it up, man. Look it up. His inspiration was Rudy Waller.
Shark.
It's not.
Hey guys, those two guys, there's 3 shows. Joe just mentioned Rudy Waller. Scroll down and watch that episode. Then keep scrolling and watch the Sass interview where they talk about their inspiration for every single song. Then keep scrolling down where we interviewed Robbie Martin, and he changed the way that we make drinks. That guy revolutionized the Scallion drink making.
He revolutionized our drink making, man. I got these comments are lighting up on the gram. Robbie says, power. That's right. You got to have power, my friend. You got to have power, man. You got to stop, drop, and roll. Like if you were on fire, but you're not on fire, but you're on fire because this 30-minute conversation is making you feel like crap.
That's true.
So you got to stop. You got to stop. And Alex says white. Vanilla. Yes, vanilla is normally white. Ice cream.
Yeah. Very true.
That's
so
right.
Active listening.
Active listening. Man, I got off track.
Active commenting. I love it.
So we got live in the moment, employ active listening. The third one, seek and nurture connection and interconnection. Choose to interact. Yo, put down your smartphone to have a real-time conversation, man. Build relationships to build cohesion. That happens to me all the time. I don't know about you, man, but people are talking to me and I'll be on my phone like, yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm not.
Yeah. There's only one time in your life that you should not put down your smartphone, and that's when you're listening and watching to Rapping with RapScallions every Sunday at 3 p.m. You can go to our website, PanamaRP.com. We've got donation buttons. We've got Patreon buttons. We got merch. We've got links
That's
to all
right.
the shows. We got links to the Spotify and podcasts, everything that you want, man.
That's right. That's
Then,
right.
once you've done all that, once you've donated and bought shirts and listened to all the shows, then you put your smartphone down and you do what Joe's telling you.
Check it out. HB. And this next one, number 4, is perhaps one of the most important benefits or reasons why you should do improv. And it's take the risk of saying yes to yourself. Listen to your instincts. Don't let the judging voice in your mind prevent you from making contributions, man. And that's what improv is all about, making contributions.
This one, you know, this one's easy to make fun of, but it's very, very true. You know, it took me a long time, even though I was acting, it took me a long time to tell people with confidence, hey, what do you do?
Mhm.
And for me to confidently tell them, I'm an actor.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
as soon as I was able to make that step, as soon as I was able to take the risk and say yes to myself, like you just pointed out, that's when my career changed. And
No
I
doubt.
can tell you what, a lot of directors, if they see that you have improvisation skills in your past, they're more likely to hire you for the movie.
True story. True story. The same with me, man. When people hear like you rap, I'm like, yeah, I rap. They're like, you don't look like a rapper. I'm like, what the hell's a rapper supposed to look like? Mofo. Seriously. So people will be like, wow. And you know what? A lot of the people interacting with us right now on the gram, Alex Reyes, Robert Martin, they took a chance. They listened to themselves, you know? They didn't let the voices in their heads tell them they couldn't do what they do now. And now these guys are musicians. These guys are restaurant owners, mixologists. These guys do great things. So stop listening to the negative voice in your head, man. Take a risk. Contribute.
Right.
Number 5, HB, is take the risk of saying yes to others. Listen to your partners. Don't let that scolding judge don't be a scolding judge to others, man. Don't judge other people. Say yes to their ideas.
Yes. Yes, and Joe.
Hey, man, when you and I were discussing this podcast, Rapcast, whatever we call it, man, we were like, yes, yes, and.
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
We were in the midst of a deep quarantine in Panama. Our creative flowers were withering, and Joe's like, "Hey, my dad sent me a newspaper clipping. Why don't we start a live cast?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. Let's do
Yes,
it. This is the
and.
best idea I've heard all pandemic."
Dude.
And that's how Rapping with RapScallions was born.
And you know what you did right there, my friend? You did number 6. Well, actually, no, you didn't do number 6. You did number 5 because you said yes. But number 6.
We're talking about the Kama Sutra. We're talking about.
That's right. Kama Sutra, position number 6. No, number 6, my friend, is give trust before it is earned. I know this is hard. I know it is hard.
That's also important in the Kama Sutra.
It is very important in the Kama Sutra. It's also important in improv because sometimes in improv, you might be doing a scene with someone you don't really know, but you got to trust that they're going to do what's good.
Right,
They're
right.
Do what's right.
The collective good is to make the show a good show. So, you know, you gotta roll with it. You gotta give yourself up, and you gotta let your creative side shine through, and that requires a lot of trust.
That's right, man. It says don't penalize future communications because of past bad experiences. And I know, man. Hey, straight up, hand to heart. We've all been hurt in the past, girl.
Mm-hmm.
But just because that man hurt you, girl,
doesn't
mean you can't trust me.
You gotta trust me, girl.
So it's that, man. Trust people. Try and trust them. If they do you wrong, they can go boink themselves. Don't give them money, though. You heard it here first. Don't give people money.
Whatever money you want to give them, put in your pocket. Then type www.panamarp.com. Right. Click that first button. Buy yourself a t-shirt.
Right. Buy yourself a t-shirt, man. Hot merch. The next one, HB, number 7. Strive to make your partners look good. And this one is so hard for some people, man.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your most valuable contribution may be to take a step back and let someone else shine.
It's true. We're out, you know, I was talking about this to someone the other day, you know, about dancing. It's like, why do men have to lead? Or maybe some women have a hard time letting their dance partner lead. But the first rule of dancing as a man is you have to make the woman look good.
That's right.
You know, So this kind of carries across to this point is if you make them look good, you make the show look good, and by doing that, you have earned their trust and respect. And when it's your turn, they'll take a step back.
That's right.
It's all
That's
about a
right.
mutual appreciation.
Man, you gotta let each other shine, man. And that's one of the things sometimes I don't understand, man. Particularly in Panama, I feel it's always a competition, right?
Right.
Everyone wants to be on top. Everyone wants to be top dog. How about we all shine, dog?
Come on, we'll shine.
We all got shine, man. The sun gonna shine. Let's all shine with the sun.
That's right. We're all
That's
born
what I
with
gotta say.
stars.
No doubt. No doubt. Hey, number
Yeah.
8, my friend. Value all contributions. You never know where the next great idea will come from. There are no mistakes in improv. You can't predict creativity, so be open to all notions. One odd idea, something that you could be like, whatever, that's stupid, could be a huge thing.
Absolutely. I struggle with this one, even though I'm aware of it. So, for example, when we were writing the song for Panama City,
Hmm.
and I was like, Joe, you need to come over here so we can write this song. I was totally stuck, and then Joe came over, and as soon as he got there, things started flowing like you wouldn't believe, and that trust and that experience that we built together helps us to be more creative once we're working on something in unison.
Because it's all about the final product. It's all about achieving success and greatness together. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of these groups, man, when they break up and then you have a soloist and he's all like, I'm going solo now. And then he flops, except Justin Timberlake, because he's super talented. But everybody
Bobby
else,
Brown,
Bobby Brown, but now he's a drug addict. I don't know. I don't talk about
he
Bobby
killed
Brown.
Whitney. That's
Killed
messed
Whitney.
up.
Sorry.
He killed
But could
Whitney,
you imagine?
Bobby. I said it.
Could you imagine? Say, Alex. Say Alex. He's all like, whatever. I'm breaking up Shorty and Slim. From now on, I'm just gonna be Slim. He'll be like, what?
Get him, Shorty.
It's no Shorty. They'd be asking.
Yeah.
They'd be asking. They'd be asking. So yeah, man, contributions, man. And he says Nama City, Panama City, or the remix that's gonna come soon, Panama City, is a love song.
Panama City. Oh, it's beautiful. My heart is crying, Alex. That's beautiful, man.
That's right. Let's see. Oh, Kim says, seems like the wisdom dripping from your lips today is the MVP of improv is the one who gives the most assists and not necessarily the one who gets the most laughs. True that.
That's very
True
true.
that, Kim.
That's
True
very
that.
true, Kim. And once we get through this list of steps, we can talk about some of our experiences because, there's a lot of things to learn, not only in these bullet points of rules that people have agreed on, but the experiences that we've had on stage that I've learned, and then
True that.
and also Joe has learned that we're going to share a little bit later if we have time.
True that. I've
What's the
got
next
2
one?
more, man. I've got 2 more. Alex says Slim Solo, bad idea. I mean,
And I can tell you guys out there listening is that the collaboration that we did with Shorty and Slim, something's going to be good when it flows easily. And I mean, we put together that song in the pandemic, miles apart, over
Miles
the
apart.
internet, and it came out so well. When you
so
put
well.
when you put people in collaboration that are talented, that are open to contributing ideas, that are, hey, I think because of this and I think because of that, and you give and take, and like what Kim said, the MVP isn't the person standing in front, it's the team that contributes
right.
to the success of everyone.
That's right. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. My friend, I got 2 more to share. Number 9, I think is beautiful. And this one is embrace the culture of yes and. Don't respond to ideas from a place of fear or negativity. Instead of disagreeing, add to the idea. That creates a good environment.
Definitely.
And I think we discussed this earlier. Instead of saying like, oh man, why'd that person come up with that idea? I didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
Add to the idea, yo.
You can't. Yeah. You keep adding, and then all of a sudden you'll see a spark, and you'll be like, "That's the one we need to go with," and then you grab it and you run with it.
You run with it, man. Just collaborate, man. It's all about collaboration. HB. And the final healthy tip for using improv technique in your life is creativity blossoms at the crossroads of collaboration. being in a collective, connected group that supports each other unleashes creativity, man. That's why you got to be with like-minded people that think in the way that you think. Don't
Yeah,
surround yourself with negative
that's
people.
that's kind of like what Kim just said. Is when you have someone pushing when you have the whole group pushing the final product, you come up with something good.
True that, man. True that. True that. And I'm just going to lift off real quick, HB, just some of the benefits of improv before we bounce into some of the experiences we've had. The benefits of improv in your life, if you try to apply these techniques, is it allows you to be a more positive person. You're saying yes and instead of no.
It's very true, and it brings you back to that childhood, man. That childhood playfulness.
It allows you to play, man, and it's important to play.
Oh, I see that you have that written down. Sorry. I love improv so much. It's like, yes,
Yeah,
everything you're saying is
good.
so true. It's changed my life so much. It's made me have so much fun.
Hey, add what you got to add, brother. That's what it's all about, man. Hey, like Kim says, it helps you become a team player and build trust. We're nothing without trust, man. No man is an island. No man is an island. Though sometimes I like to think I'm an island and I'm alone, floating in the ocean.
Yeah.
But no, not.
I'm more like an archipelago.
Archipelago, several
it's
islands.
Fun to say. Yeah.
It makes you a better listener and improves your communication skills. If there's one thing people can take away from today's conversation is we got to listen to each other, man.
Yes.
Grab
Stop talking and start listening. I think a lot of times when I'm watching the news and I get a little disheartened, there's something that I keep telling myself is, what's the difference between knowledge and wisdom? People who are knowledgeable always seek to be right. And people who are wise are always trying to help others gain wisdom,
Interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
A wise person would sit back and let someone and help them come to the truth instead of cutting them off and telling them, it's a collaborative. Anyway, that's philosophy. Let's get back to improv, baby.
I hear you, dog. I hear you. Listen, it helps you make big choices.
Yeah.
Big choices. HB already said it helps you bring out your playful side. You got to play, dog. You got to play. You know what? Recently, I saw this movie on the plane. I saw a movie called Tag. Have you seen that movie? Tag.
I saw part of it, yeah.
Man, I loved it. I loved it because I had just seen The Joker and it made me feel super sad. So I was like, I need to watch a movie that makes me feel good. So I watched Tag, and the friendship between these dudes and how they played. I loved it. Because who says just because you're an adult you can't play? You can't play the games. You know what I'm saying? And people think, oh, when you're an adult, you got to play different games like gambling or whatever. No, man, you can still play the games, dog.
That's the wonder of life. We got another shout out. Arturo Villarreal is tuned in. He says, Cierto HB. Thanks for tuning in, man. And thanks for and contributing to the conversation. Yeah, Joe, the wonders of life is rejuvenating that childhood fire inside of you. That's where creativity comes from.
True that. And I think that's one of the wonderful things that we're doing right now as adults. Us as adults are not the same people potentially that adults were 20 years ago. I think us as adults, we enjoy living our childhood experiences. There's like a lot of nostalgia for the things we enjoyed as children. So I think that's really great. And we got to keep doing that because it's what keeps us happy.
I agree with you. Like, I found acting and improv later on in life, people ask me as a kid, what did you want to be? I was like, I want to be an actor, but that wasn't a serious thing. You can't be an actor. And you know what? Later in life, I decided to be an actor. I found improv and I've never been happier. And lo and behold, my childhood dream has come true by embracing these bullet points that Joe is saying. These aren't rules or laws. They're just some ways that being creative and taking the rules of improv into your everyday life.
Hey, and you know what the final one is? Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. It is so hard for us to enjoy the moment because we're always thinking about the next thing that we're going to do.
Yeah. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Yeah. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen in 10 years? Oh my God, everything's awful. Hey, wait a second. Dude, the sun's out. And remember, when we had Rudy Waller, he's a motocross champion that's taken him all around the world. He's like, what's my tip for people? If you wake up and you draw breath inside of your lungs, you should be happy because
Yeah.
you're alive. And man, that show for me was just amazing.
It was inspiring, man. And Alex Reyes, he says, enjoy the moment. No doubt. No doubt. It's hard sometimes, though. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. And I think I told UHB a lot of times, like when we went to Taboga, there was a time when we were on the boat and we were on there and I was like, I'm trying to enjoy this moment and really take it in and not think about what was coming next. Cause I was like, we're actually doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And it also happened to me this past week. I was like, let me take this moment in and enjoy this moment because we're constantly thinking about what comes next. Who cares what comes next? You know, in the moment you're in now, that's what matters.
Yeah, if you're fulfilled in that moment, that'll open doors. A lot of times I feel that we get kind of trapped by our anxiety and we got blinders on. We're only looking at the things that we're afraid of or that make us anxious. You got to open up your vision. You got to take those blinders off and look around and see that there's so much opportunity and the universe is just handing it out to us.
And I think it was one of those things where, like, you and I, HB, before we did every improv show, it was always such excitement, right? We get to the theater and it was like the rest of the day didn't matter. You know, what mattered was what we were going to do now. And we were so excited. And then we got to play for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And for that time, we were in a bubble, right? Where we were just having fun and everything was there.
Joy shooting out of our hearts.
Everything was there. Everything we could ever want was there. And it's just allowing that feeling to capture everything else. It's hard sometimes.
Get some more shout outs here. Arturo Villarreal says, saludos hasta tu finca autosuficiente. We're working on it. We're working on it. We got the sheep and the chickens. Their poop goes in the fruit trees. The fruit trees go into this seco con chicha. You know what I'm saying? And he also says Eckhart for president. Eckhart Tolle, I guess he's talking about. Yes. We need thinking people.
We need thinking people
in presidential and political positions.
We need Slim for president. Slim says, love you guys. Peace. Now is the real deal. We love you too, man. Peace out. Have a good Sunday.
I love this. We got a lot of performers out there. I know that these guys who play professionally, they love being on stage. They love being in front of a crowd and doing their craft in front of people.
Indeed, man. Indeed. So it's all about that, man.
We have got 3 minutes left. Do you have any more benefits for improv in your life, Joe?
No, man. I just hope they made sense and people understood them, especially in today's time, today's day and age, when we're just everything is so uncertain.
Yeah.
You know, just try to take them into account.
It's true. Try to look on the positive side. Try to think happy. Find things that make you happy. Use the rules of improv to help you out.
Yeah.
Arturo says, I'll take my guitar. He's gonna go on tour. I like that. We need more music too.
We do.
Joe, we've got 2 minutes left. Do you have a positive, a moment in improv that you'd like to share with everyone?
A moment in improv, man. I think, I'm trying to think. There's been so many more.
I can say
one. Go ahead.
As an actor, you try to stay humble, but at a certain point, you have to learn. I learned this. I had a moment in improv where I mimed a situation, and the crowd liked it so much they gave me the applause, and I was so embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed by the applause. I was overwhelmed by the applause that I wanted to go and sit down and say, no, this applause isn't needed. And you know what? I was like, wait a minute. If I've done a good performance and the crowd wants to applaud, I should live in that moment and let them give me the applause and help them and me at the same time enjoy the moment. So that goes into rule number 10 that you just mentioned. All right,
True that.
Pass the mic to you.
True that. I hear you, and I love that you said that, man, because I think it's one of the things that I can totally appreciate and understand in life. I remember it wasn't an improv moment, but it was a work moment where someone says, man, you really do a lot. And then I said, no. It's a team effort. This happened because all of us worked together. And they said to me, they were like, no, recognize the moments where you do good and enjoy those moments. And that's totally an improv moment, because like you, I've had scenes where I'm just like, I gotta go sit down, whatever, hide me behind these shields.
Yeah.
Like a vampire hiding from the sunlight, right?
Well, that's the thing, is like in a performance situation like that, you're completely exposed. You're given everything, and that's very important to give everything.
You're spent.
And once it's over, you wanna
hide.
You're like Dracula. You want to put your cape.
You're spent. You're totally spent. And I think like you, I would want to tell the people listening to us, like, man, when you do something good, enjoy it, live in it. Because for the most part, in this world, in this existence that we have today, people always want to remember the bad things. But don't do that.
Good things.
Remember the good things, man.
Yeah. We should celebrate good things and happy moments and creative moments. That's kind of what we're here on Earth for, is to create music, man. Create life, create
love,
offspring, create love, comedy,
right. All those
RapScallions shows,
all those good things. So you guys just keep that in mind, man. If we can leave you with any message at the end of the show, it's just that: celebrate your accomplishments, man. Any accomplishment you got out this morning, that's an accomplishment. You lived your life today, that's an accomplishment. There's a lot of people that'll be like, I can't get out of bed today. They spend their day in bed. But you got things to do, man.
Gotta get up, gotta get it done.
Yeah, like, value yourself.
Arturo says, saludos a Joe.
Thank you.
5 p.m., my friend. You want to wrap us up?
Yo, I think I'm wrapped up as it is.
You're wrapped up. Hey, fam scallions. I'll do the wrap up today.
Wrap it up.
Living in the moment. Being able to do improv has helped us out so much. It has helped my career. It's helped Joe's career, and it has helped our interpersonal career in creating these shows for you guys. And as far as improv goes, I can talk very, very highly of Joe. Is if we get into a car and we're driving anywhere, we're improvising. We'll see something on the side of the street and we'll just start improvising about it.
That's a
yes
fact.
And, yes and, yes and, yes and, yes and.
That's a fact.
And we'll get into the most ridiculous conversations, and it's so much fun. It's so much laughter. That's one of the reasons why our show is so successful, is that it's always comes from a place of wanting to have fun and creativity.
That's right.
So I just want to thank Joe. I want to thank the Fam Scallions. We're here every Sunday at 3 p.m. Check out our website, PanamaRP.com. You can find links to all our social media where you can watch us live. You can find links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts where you can listen to our recordings. And you can find links to donations, Patreon links, where if you want to, instead of buying a coffee, buy us a beer, baby. It'll help.
Yo, coffee in the U.S. is expensive.
Yeah, man.
Give it to us.
Give it to us. You don't need that. That coffee's making you all anxious. Give it to us. We'll make you feel good and calm.
Oh.
And we've got merch coming out. So find that link, bookmark it, go there every day. You'll find peace, calm, and happiness. I got buttons to push. Goodbye, Fam Scallions. Thank you once again for tuning in every Sunday, 3 p.m. Rapping with RapScallions. Can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.
J-O-E in the place to be. HB on the track, it's like ecstasy. Rolling a well of 7 years, what we drinking be. Trying to sling the dopest rhymes in the galaxy. Let me take a minute, go and relax your mind. Sometimes these words can be hard to find. 24/7 on that daily grind. Hearing voices in my head, man, they not that kind. Cause bitches be bitching, snitches keep snitching. The world keeps turning, and I keep hitching a ride. Instead of living my life. Yo, 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 yo.
Man, when you feel hungry, don't you have to eat?
Yo, yo, pump up the volume and digest this beat.
RapScallions in the house with this lyrical treat.
When we're done with you, you're gonna ice your feet.
If the world ends tomorrow and you had one chance,
hey, yo, would you start the move like it's your last dance?
Yo, do something small in the past and present changes.
Do something now, the future rearranges.
Cause bitches keep bitching.
Yo, snitches keep snitching.
The world keeps turning.
And you start living your life instead of hitching a ride. RapScallions.